So I'm gonna need a minute to collect myself after witnessing one of the bonus episodes of KonoSuba Season 1, because that's really what an explosion on this wonderful world has become. What started out as Megumi's school life has evolved into getting to the timeline, that starting point of Season 1 where KonSuba and Aqua were dicking around trying to find work. Hell, they're even starting to tease where darkness was at this point in KonoSuba's timeline. Yet we're seeing how close our girl Megumi was this entire time. Them sleeping in the barn, that was literally just across the street at the inn she was staying. Walking home from a horrible day of adventuring, we hear them bickering in the alleyway. They're turning their party tricks. But the real kicker of an episode like this is seeing how down bad both Yunyun and Megumi truly were, because when you see this moment, and I'm thinking I'm seeing something wrong here, but she's talking about how this older man who's always day drinking wanted her to call him daddy and she would get an allowance. The fact that between the Axis Cult episodes to now Sugar Daddy moments, this is peak KonoSuba Season 1 comedy, and I'm loving my time with this spin-off. Now, full live reaction to this insanely good episode is available on my Patreon. If you do want to see my full uncut thoughts, you can head on over there because they're supporting. This has really turned into being a treat. While I like the first half of this spin-off, I think the second half smokes it. It completely hits it out of the park, knocks it out of the water. It is so much funnier, and I think it's such a brilliant spin-off because earlier into these videos, I literally would say, like, I wonder if we'll end this spin-off with them getting to the point of the beginning of Season 1, which at the time seemed a little, it was kind of like a pipe dream, right? Because based on the pacing of the school stuff, I was like, oh, they're just going to focus on that. And when she initially left, I was like, maybe that's becoming more likely. But no, that's exactly where we are. Last week, we saw the summoning of Aqua and KonSuba coming to this world. And this episode, literally, it's starting out, I'm saying out loud, oh, here it is. We're going to, by the end of episode 12, we'll have them face to face, and we literally hear the same VAs. We know, we're like, oh, no way they're actually doing this. And not once, not twice, multiple times we see them in the background. We sometimes see them fuzzy in the background, but most of the time we just hear their VAs going off. And the idea of prior to KonSuba carrying her back from destroying a Demon King's castle, right? The idea that she would just blow apart these giant craters, Muscle Man comes running in, just pissed off, wheels her off, as we see KonSuba and Aqua filling in the holes in the background. Like, those are the little moments that just make you so happy, because it doesn't take away from anything from Season 1. If anything, it just enhances Season 1. Seeing that all along, because we know that party forms. We know lovable Darkness, lovable KonSuba, lovable Aqua, Megumi, they join and they make a ragtag team of misfits. But you have to admit, seeing how close they were the whole time, like initially when you see the poster of Darkness on the bulletin board, I'm like, okay, that's all the Darkness teas we'll get. And then we see her covered in goo storming off, and I'm like, you didn't have to do that, but that's like the type of fan service you love to see, because if you're already in the village where we know they end up meeting, there's no reason to play the viewers along saying, yep, next week you'll probably get a tease of them, or ooh, next week, or the final episode we'll just end with them in the party, right? No, instead, show us how close they actually were this whole time. And I love that. I think it just enhances KonoSuba Season 1 all the more. And as I say, Megumi was without a doubt the character, if any character should have a spin-off, to get it, because the Crimson Demons, Yunyun turning already a great character in the main show, but really that friendship, that frenemy dynamic, it just feels so much more compelling seeing what they were able to do in this season of it. And how, as much as she tried to push her away, they always ended up coming back together. And that's what has me really excited for the last couple of episodes, because the idea of now being at a point where the main KonoSuba crew are around each other. You can have the background comedy of her being depressed as a failed adventurer and hearing of them in the background, and the idea of the bananas, right? And then seeing when she gets back to the room that Yunyun has the bananas. It's just the little moments make you laugh, but it doesn't distract from the star attraction, which is how did Megumi, how did Yunyun end up in the situation that they did at the beginning of Season 1? And in the case of making a pretty solid entrance, you have to admit, Megumi might be an idiot. She might be so up her own ass to the point that she refuses to learn any other magic because it would distract from explosions. She does know how to make an entrance, and she had the entire guild pretty much ready to work with her. I mean, some, after seeing the explosion, said not for me, but you literally have this one party that looked buff, looked strong, And they are like, hey girl, you actually, I thought you were lying to us, but you destroyed that thing. Yeah, maybe they had to carry her back to the inn, but they were genuinely impressed. And when she said, I don't know any other spells, while they were shocked, they said, it's okay, we're a party, we'll help you level up, we'll get you some intermediate magic. And she's like, no, that would distract. That would take away from the brilliance. And they're like, girl, we threw you a bone, and you said no, you gotta leave. Like, the fact that she actually had the chance to have a normal life, a normal party, and threw it all away for the point of just pride of explosion magic. Obviously, I'm glad she did, as otherwise season 1 would have hit a lot different, and not in a positive way, because she wouldn't have been a part of the cast, and she would have just been background comedy. But man, you gotta love this season. Like, from Megumi's first explosion going in absolutely hard with the animation a handful of episodes back, to seeing how she would sell off her friend or cat at a moment's notice if it meant getting teleportation money, joining the Axis cult and teaching them how to scam people better, to having moments where Yunyun basically puts up a flyer asking to have friends. We don't even have to go adventuring, let's just chill and be friends. And we see what ends up happening when you post a note like that as a cute girl in this world. You get creeps saying, I'll give you an allowance if you call me daddy. And I'm like, bruh, this show, that is the KonoSuba I know and love. The KonoSuba that makes you say, hello officer, there's a sexual predator here who needs to be arrested. This show is insanely good. And anyone who dropped out early on, which honestly, the intro to this show, the first 5 episodes or so with that school, I thought was great because her village was just a village of neats. It was fantastic. But the idea that, you know, it just is such payoff. You get a good moment with her family and her school. Then you get the adventuring that leads up, like as an example, season 2 with the Axis cult and everything like that. It all links up to Megumi, right? Then you have all the intro stuff with this city, this village where all the season 1 shenanigans took place. We got to see so much more to this world and plot points that the main show did show us, and it enhances the viewer's experience tenfold. What I originally said about this spin-off is, could it exist and not watch it, just watch the main show, and you would be fine? And I said yes, and while technically that's still true, seeing what they've done not only for Megumi's and Yunyun's character makes me appreciate the scenes with them all the more in the main show, but most importantly, seeing how her adventure links up to the main show, it just feels like if you were to recommend the show, you would be doing a fan a disservice by not having them watch this spin-off after season 1 and 2. I still think that would be the best order to appreciate it, though obviously chronologically you could start with this. But I think what makes it so fun is going through seasons 1, season 2, throwing the movie there as well if you want, and the idea of then going back to this explosion spin-off and seeing the build-up, it makes you appreciate the main show more while also existing on its own 2 legs of comedy gold. And you can't say that for a lot of spin-off shows for a series as big as KonoSuba, but that's just my feelings anyway. It really does feel like bonus episodes at this point anyway for season 1, and that's fantastic. Thoughts and feelings yourself down below. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around here, ring that bell so you can get notified when I upload more KonoSuba on the channel, and as I mentioned, full live reaction to this hilarious episode is available on my Patreon if you're interested, and while you're there you'll also get a video shout out. So today we have Brandon Logren, Chawrick, Daniel Darby, Peter Bach, and Lucas Edgar. So I appreciate the support everyone. Please take care and have a good one.